Hey everybody, this is Rich. Use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop RPGs with friends. This is Star Wars Saturdays. Star Wars Saturdays is an ongoing campaign that I've been running for the Gauntlet community since December of 2017. In Star Wars Saturdays, what happens is it's an anthology series that up until just recently was taking place during the timeline of the original trilogy, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. As of October of 2019, we jumped just past the death of Emperor Palpatine. So we're dealing with the fallout of the fall of the Empire. The only thing that is absolutely true or canon to us, just like Disney says, is the original trilogy of movies. We're in that space between the original trilogy of movies and when Mandalorian supposedly takes place. So we don't have a whole lot of media underpinnings. Yes, there are a bevy of amazing novels out there, but we only pull from them when we like it. It's like we're Disney, except we don't have Disney's money or we don't have Disney's trademarks or like legal contracts or like anything that's legitimate. It's just on YouTube. It's okay. And so every month I post up one game or sometimes two games. Folks from the Gauntlet will RSVP, and then whoever it is, we get together and we'll tell some stories set in Star Wars. Like to switch out different systems to try different approaches and almost different genres within the Star Wars setting. This is the third and final session of what I'm calling Padawans in the Vineyard, which is a hack. Really, when I say hack, it's like I didn't hack much. I mostly like lightly reskinned it. Dogs in the Vineyard by D. Vincent Baker, which is currently out of print. And I respect that, but I did reach out to D. Vincent Baker, to Vincent, and say, hey, do you mind if I play a reskin of this to Star Wars? He said yes. His choices for Dogs in the Vineyard had nothing to do with the mechanics. It was more along the setting. And by putting in a new setting, he's A-okay with that. As I said, this is the third and final session. We have two returning players, and then we have one brand new player. So we get to go through the initiation, which is always fun. And then we'll jump through a town. Hopefully everybody's comfortable enough for us to burn through a town, because we kind of did a town in 1.5-ish sessions last time. But I really want to get through this town because I'm super stoked for it. It's going to be fun. So we'll start off with a special guest. Eli, if you could introduce yourself and then tell us about your character, please.
Absolutely. I am Eli Seitz. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Eli Seitz, and please do so because I've got some projects coming to Kickstarter as part of Zine Quest in February, which is real cool. Today, I'm playing Linvo. Linvo uses they, them pronouns, and Linvo is a Nautilin, one of the many races in Star Wars that has head tentacles. This one has 14 head tentacles. And they are not so sure about being a Jedi. And their first mission certainly did not help that. They have a strong background as a smuggler and were kind of a little bit forced into this Jedi lifestyle. And I've been struggling to adapt to it. So we'll see where we go from there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Eli. And then Stephen, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character. I love this, like this beginning thing where I get to say the phrase, tell me about your character. I don't know why that gives me a thrill. Please, Stephen.
Hi, I'm Stephen. I use the he, him pronouns, and today I'll be playing Lethwo Etib, who is a Ithorian, also known as a hammerhead, but that's kind of a racial slur, so we're not going to use that term. But Ithorian, from the A New Hope movie. Lethwo was part of a herd ship that basically the Ithorians value nature. They built cities above the forest and above the ground on their home planet, and then they float off on. They eventually turned those into herd ships, and they had their own society. This society was very peaceful until the Empire came, and Lethwo was studying to be an oracle using the Force on his herd ship, and then defended the colony and did violence upon the Empire, and they exiled him for it. And he is now training with Master Nova Kalos, and uh, is struggled a little bit with the decision to bring Basti back and take Basti from their homeworld. So, mhm.
Yep, that was a fraught conversation and quite fun. Thank you so much, Stephen. And then last but not least, we have our new player. Blaze, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character a bit.
Hi, my name is Blaze. My character is called Kalis. It's a he, him. Oh, my pronouns are he, him also. All I have right now is that he's fairly young Padawan who's grew up in the jungle of Kashyyyk, like most Trandoshans, and spent most of his life as a hunter-gatherer for his tribe. And so he has socialization has been hard for him in a certain degree. He spent most of his life being alone or with very few people, and so his although he's like he's got basic manners and things, he's still like he gets anxious in crowds, and so like that whole idea of he's a bit like I don't want to say overly aggressive, but like it plays into the fact that if there are social situations can make him uncomfortable, and he can resort to anger, although he's like trying to work on that as an individual.
Nice. So Kalis, is that how we're saying it?
That's
cool.
how we're doing it.
Kalis has been on Rhodia, the planet of Rhodia. What's Rhodia? That's the place with the Greedo. This is their home planet. It's a jungle planet. You guys were all the first class of students that Nova Kalos, the Jedi Master for this little burgeoning fledgling temple, you guys all came in and found this Jedi Temple that had existed for millennia here on Rhodia, helped clear out certain spaces, but it's not fully operational. You guys have kind of temporary housing that has been set up in jungle huts and the like, and you will go into the temple to study, occasionally work, clear out things, kind of sweep, do a little bit of Miyagi stuff of like sand the floor, paint the fence, all that good stuff, learning about the Force while also cleaning up this temple. And Nova Kalos, as he has a network of people. He also leans on you guys as he finds out about other people who might have sensitivity to the Force or a calling of the Force. He'll send out his kind of first wave of students, which so far has been Lethwo, Linvo, as well as Arolivasa and Kalyana Burdens. And they are in the process of returning. Kalis, you've heard this, and you've been held back a little bit to deal a little bit more with your anger issues, I think. And that's the reason you weren't sent out on that first mission. How do you feel about that? Do you think, do you have a peace with it? Or is it one of those where you felt like maybe that was the worst decision, or you feel guilty because you weren't out there? What's your feelings around effectively being held back a grade? Sorry, that's an American thing.
That's okay. That's okay. I feel a bit of guilt, but a lot of shame, because this probably resulted in me lashing out previously in an unforeseen situation. Maybe when it was called upon that, maybe I'm not ready, and then I just blew up or something. And it's like, what do you mean not ready? I've been training for this for a long time, and I can't believe you're leaving me back. So yeah, so probably shame of the fact that I shouldn't have acted out in such a way.
Cool. So now what we're going to do is one of the things I love about Dogs on the Vineyard, and I'm kind of shocked that we don't have more games that do this. It's like a tutorial, and this is the initiation. So in the initiation, we are using Roll for Your Party, and because the way the Roll for Your Party works, and movement of dice is a thing that you need to do in this, is because it's built for a table. It was written in 2005. There was no we'll all play on a virtual tabletop as far as I know in 2005. I mean, maybe Epic Table, or maybe some others. Shut up, Rich. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll be sharing screens, and we'll roll dice So you get to roll dice plays, but as far as moving the dice, you'll just tell me what you're moving, and that's how it will go. That way we are all looking at the same picture, the shared screen of my roll for your party. So when you roll dice, I'll see the dice appear, and then I'll be moving them forward for the raises and C's and all that fun stuff.
That's great. Just for forewarning, you can just call my character Ka. That's fine.
Okay, Ka. Awesome. I can do that. So Ka is going through his initiation. So the way that the initiation works, which is a cool tutorial for how the dice work, is that we start off and we set the conflict. So this is the thing that Ka wants to accomplish or learn in those final moments before he is raised up to be a Padawan who can leave. So you're not a Jedi, because it's Padawans in the Vineyard, but it's you can leave the temple and go do stuff in the name of the Force kind of thing. You don't we don't know if you will necessarily learn that thing. You will graduate regardless. Even if you fail at this thing you're trying to achieve, the idea is the Jedi Master sees in you that you learn from this failure. So it's okay. And it can be difficult because I'm rolling a lot of dice. Some things that people have learned in the past are, I want to learn to control my temper. I want to gain the acknowledgement of this person. I want to impress so-and-so thing. I want to find my object. There are lots of different permutations for that. So what do you think Ka wants to achieve during his initiation? What is the rite that he wants to undergo?
I think the rite that he has to undergo is that he has to learn to listen to others instead of his own internal voice.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, cool. Learns to listen to others. Oof, I almost, the first thing that came out to my head is the log, but I'm not going to do the log again, although it's fun. So you have to learn to listen to others.
It's like building that empathy or something like that.
Yeah, no, I like that. So let's say that the initiation doesn't take place until after Lethwo and Linvo return, because I want them to be part of the others. Stephen, Eli, I hope you guys are cool with that. So we will start off with Kalis has said, this is what I want. And Nova Kalos nods in his sage, trying to be a Jedi way. And he says, yes, tomorrow the others will be here. The Silver Dart returns in the morning. And so we do a little bit of a star wipe, George Lucas style scene wipe, and then the Silver Dart, which if you take a look, one of the tabs shows a picture of it. It is a big, clunky freighter, but it's the best that you guys have access to. And so the Silver Dart, which is a freighter style, and similar to the YTs, so the Millennium Falcons, but this doesn't have nearly the panache. And we see Linvo and Lethwo, as well as our two now NPC'd, Erolivasa and Kaliana Burdens, come down the gangplank with this young Bothan. Appears to be pushing the middle years of young adult. Not, he's still a child. So Lethwo, what do we see as you're coming down, and especially your interaction with Basti?
So I think that Leth has his jungle staff, and you can see that he kind of has a hand resting on Basti, on Basti's shoulder. And as they reach the ground, you can see that he plants his staff solidly in the ground and takes a moment just to feel the earth beneath it. And then turns back to Nova Kalos and says, this is the one that we see, that we went out seeking. And he has left his home, and we should be considerate of his old family, previous family, as he is trained.
Of course. Welcome. Welcome to the temple, young one. I am Nova Kalos. I will teach you in the ways of the Force. You've taken your first step into a much wider galaxy. The child looks up at him and blinks, reaches up and tugs at one of his little earrings that he put in himself. So it's, like it's been infected, but you guys put some Bacta on it, so it's fine. What about Linvo, though? I know you have some misgivings about this. So and this is GM asking, what is Linvo's? Yeah, Nova wouldn't look up and call you out like that. But what's Linvo's? What's his attitude right now?
Yeah, I think Linvo is just kind of like standing back, probably like arms folded as Lethwo goes up with Basti and is kind of like looking on and looking at the temple. This place that they are not super happy to be back at. Just like, don't know about that thing we did, but I guess it's done now.
Cool. And you say Ka is here. Linvo, what's one thing that you like about Kalis, your Trandoshan fellow trainee?
I like that Kalis seems pretty direct in what they want, that if they want something, they do it, and they're usually strong enough and direct enough that they're just going to go and do that thing.
Good. With that, Nova Kalos says, Padawans, please have some food. I know that the Silver Dart's auto chef is not as enjoyable as the bounty of Rhodia. I know that Ka has recently hunted for us, so please make yourselves comfortable. Tomorrow will be Kalis's initiation, and you will help. And he pulls Roli and Kaliana and Basti, and the four of them head deeper into the temple to start getting Basti comfortable, give him a place to stay, get him some linens, all that good stuff. Lethwo and Linvo, the two of you are left with Kalis. I assume that you will head off to get some food. I'm imagining that it's like food cubes and crackers kind of stuff and food paste that you have on the Silver Dart. So Grom Rabor will come down. He appears to be in his 50s. He's got a cybernetic eye, and he says, "Oh, you got me a food. Good hunter, Trandoshan hunter. Yeah, I hope you got me big meat. Big meat." So it's fine.
In Rhodia, there's not any big animals. They're all small.
Well, I hope you caught a multitude, my Trandoshan friend. And he'll amble over towards the kitchen. Lethwo, what do you do?
So I think I walk over and I grab my soup bowl, which is a large bowl off the shelf, and mix in some greens and into the bowl, and then pour some broth. And I think I turn to Ka and I say, we have much to talk about, my brother. How has your time here in the wild been?
It's been reassuring. It feels like home. I don't feel like I'm being intruded by others. It's been nice.
That is reassuring. The time that we had on Basti's planet, there was a mine there, and the planet was being devoured by the mines, and at least the area we were in. So it's good to be back here.
But what is happening on that planet is more like what is happening across all of the Outer Rim. The temple is the exception, not the other way around.
that's nice and ominous. Do we cut scene like right there? I think that's cool. So we open up in an area that Ka, you will soon be blind to. It's almost like a theater that exists within the temple, and there are these, like the reverse of a ziggurat, like there are these sets of steps that go down into an area that's deep, and then there's lots of people that can walk around, and then there are these daises or circles, and you are down at the bottom with Nova Kalos. Basti, his hair's been tied into the little Padawan little braid thing, and you see that Kaliana has a hand on his shoulder. She seems to be acting like she's going to be his buddy to get initiated into things, and Aroli is near the top as well, but you're down here with Nova Kalos, and Nova's holding a pair of those little spherical droids, that like the little zipper droids, and he says, "You will learn to trust in others, Ka. That is how you will become initiated into the ways of a Padawan. Linvo, Lethwo, the two of you will help to guide him." And then the two things come up, and they start moving around a little bit. And he reaches down into his pouch and he pulls out this strip, and he doesn't use the blaster helmet. He's old school. Nova Kalos will lean up, and I'm imagining your Trandoshan's like tall, right? Because Wookiees and Trandoshans are tall. So he reaches up, and you see that moment of like the blindfold coming forward, and then you're completely blind, and he goes around, and he ties it, and you hear as he lights his lightsaber. It's as if he's checking to make sure that you are completely blind. And then I didn't actually check your stuff. Do you have a lightsaber yet? Maybe you have to use his. Ooh, that would be cool. You do have a lightsaber. Oh, yeah, nice. Cool. So he steps back and he says, "You must defeat these two training droids without sight."
Can I add a little something to the scene?
Yes. What do you want to add to the scene?
So I was thinking it's really interesting because you said that it was an amphitheater going down. So maybe for the purpose, maybe it wasn't necessarily built as a training ground, but maybe as an amphitheater. So you could say that it's slightly deeper. It's like shaped like a speaker on the bottom. And so when you're at the bottom, you hear a lot of echo from like it's like the sound projects outwards, but it's kind of a bit confusing if you're not used to being in that space, like in terms of sound. Like, so it's like it projects very well, but there it's like there's a mixture of like I'm in a bit of this like it bounces off the wall type of thing. So it's like the audio is just a bit strange. And the other thing is that it's like it's you feel a bit claustrophobic at the bottom compared to the rest. So it's like, although like it's like a very open space when you're sitting down, when you're performing at the bottom, you know that you're very much like in a very smaller scene. So a bit that sense of like pressure is like Ka really feels that, and it's he finds it very somewhat uncomfortable to be in this space. So I just wanted to start with that.
Oh, that's good. Great. Thank you. That's some excellent color. I really appreciate that. So now I'm going to share screens, and I will remember how to do that momentarily. Here we go. All right. So I'm sharing the screen. Hopefully you guys will see it in just a moment. Awesome. So I have already rolled. What I do is I lead off by rolling 4d6 and 4d10. Because it is your initiation, we are not going to have Eli and Steven rolling dice. They will just be effectively color for how this works. And they will show if you trust or not. We are doing lightsaber dueling. So if we pop over the rules reference, You start off with heart plus will, unless you're wanting to do something else to try to defeat those things. It seems like the most appropriate. So check your character sheet and you will roll all of your heart plus your will. And I see here we've got 3d6 and 5d6. You're rolling 8d6.
So, Rich, how did you have imagined that Linvo and Lethwo were working in? Because I have an idea.
Oh, that's a great question. So he's blind. So I'm kind of imagining that you would be giving instructions like, oh, it's to your left. It's to your left. Watch out. Watch out. He's coming low. That kind of stuff. So you don't have to actually like say all of that. But if there are particular moments of the two droids and what they're doing, then I thought it might be fun. So yeah.
If I can elaborate, I had an idea. I think in one of the last sessions, there was a confrontation with Nova, and there was kind of a wound on the Force, indicating that the Force didn't quite show through for one of the Padawans. And in this case, what if Nova concentrates to prevent Ka from seeing, using the Force to reach out, and Linvo and Lethwo communicate with him through the Force where things are?
Ooh, that's interesting. I like that. So the conflict is like through the Force, the tugs of the Force. The lightsaber is just the extension.
Well, his Ka's ability to see where things are in the Force come through the communication. So I think Lethwo just sits there and meditates to pass along positioning through the Force.
Neat. And what about Linvo? Eli, what were you thinking for how Linvo contributes in?
I'm not totally sure. I think probably something similar, but it's the help maybe like boost Ka's concentration or boost Ka's Force awareness.
Mm-hmm. Fun. I like it. Good. So Blaze, if you want to go ahead and roll those 8d6.
Sorry, too many screens are showing too many dice rollers. Give me 1 second. How do I?
Yeah, if you're clicking on the screen I'm displaying, it's not going to work. Trust me, I've done that.
Okay. So it's 3d6 plus 5d6, so 8d6.
Yep, and I've chosen the white color.
Then I will just go turquoise and submit. Okay.
Oh, that's a crap roll. Okay.
I didn't know if I was supposed to roll high or low.
You want to roll high.
Okay.
So here's the way that it works. What we're going to do is this mimics a little bit like a game of poker or blackjack. I mean, it goes through sets of raises and C's. So we don't have any relationship dice. Well, do you have any relationships with Linvo or Sethwo?
I would say that I actually have a relationship with Linvo.
Okay.
No.
Did you have any relationship? Because you have 4d4, 2d6, and 2d10 to assign.
Okay. Actually, no, Lethwo. Sorry. The names are too similar. I will say I have a relation to Lethwo. I have a feeling that that he over time has like found ways to either try to comfort me in my anxiety of being in a new place all the time or in a new place now. So I'll associate 2d6 because it's not like super well established relationship, but it's like a new one.
Okay, cool. So then you're going to have a 2d6 relationship with Lethwo. He is definitely involved in this. Mm-hmm. So let's have you go ahead and roll those 2d6 as well and before we start working out the dice.
Let's roll 2. So a 6 and a 1.
Okay.
Oh, no. A 5 and a 1 or something.
Oh, well, it's fine. They're all sorted. It's good. Here's what we do. So we start off, and the person with the 2 highest dice is the one who will make the first raise. We go through sets of raises and C's. It's just the 2 of us. So I will go forward with the first dice. You have to see it. And then once you do, then you will get to set forth a couple dice, and I have to see it, and then we go through rounds until the point where the arena, whether we escalate where things are going, or you or I run out of dice. You want to see something with 2 dice. So I'm going to just go right forward. Both of them come humming towards you. The droids are loud. You can hear the and you get it's as if they're trying to strike quick and hard. So I'm going with, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So I've put forward 13. You can't see 13 with 2 dice. Right, I'm being an asshole, but that's my job. So I'm making it hard because I love your character. If you have 2 dice that can match the dice that I have, then you push those forward and you've blocked it. If you have 1 die that meets or exceeds the die total I've put, you reverse the blow. If you don't have 2 dice that can meet it, you push forward as many dice as you can. You have to at least see it. Putting force dice to go over it won't give you any benefit. Those dice, what's happened if it's more than 2 dice, you're kind of taking the blow, it hurts. And those dice will be moved to the left-hand side for fallout for something that happens after this conflict is resolved. So the minimum dice you could put forward right now is if you wanted to burn both of your 6s in a 1, you can meet with just 3. That means those 6s will be used up, though. And so you may not want to do that.
I will go. What's the option for putting all the things in Fallout?
I'm not sure what.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I'm new to this.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I just didn't understand the question.
I was gonna say, what if I burn? How could I burn as many dice as possible?
Just tabulate all your small dice until it reaches 13.
Exactly. So that's what I would do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. That's 11 up to the 4. So like all the ones to the 4.
Wow. So 4, 3, 7, 10, 12.
Yeah.
So you gotta get 13. So all right, this is gonna hurt.
Like, no, I agree, but it's like in the environment. So how it plays out is like this. So like the environment, I'm not used to it. You take off my eyes, and then the hearing makes it very hard. And I'm trying to go by smell because the hearing it's like there's too many things coming at me and I can't necessarily like hear it. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna go. Clearly, these things smell like plastic and metal. Once I smell plastic and metal, I know that they'll be near. So it's like I'm putting all of my energies in a sense that I'm not used to using in this very particular moment.
Okay.
So I meet it, but it's like at a huge cost because listening is too hard.
Cool. And because you take the blow, I'm going to add the color of it during this time of you trying to work through the senses. You realize that you're heading towards failure because you're not supposed to be relying on your own senses. You dimly hear Lethwo's voice, and you've been hit by those stingers 3-4 times. Linvo, you see that Ka is bleeding, and he keeps reaching out for his to depend on himself. He's not trusting on Lethwo. This is not going well. But you've got a reserve of power, right? So now you have taken that blow. Now you get to push forward 2 dice. And I need to meet it.
Okay, so I'm going to push 2 6s.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move those down. Now, what does this look like?
So this the way that it looks like is that, so I've taken all these blows, but suddenly in like all the pain of like, it's almost like, okay, so in there I can start hearing Lethwo's like communications coming through. So it's like in my weakened state, I can start like a bit hearing like things coming through. Like, oh, okay, if I just pull on this, like I think it's coming that way. And so I react to that communication instead of relying on my own senses.
Cool. So you're starting to listen.
Like it might be too late, but it's okay.
Cool. So you start to reach out to the Force. Lethwell's voice begins to guide you, and I don't have a 12 that I can take with 2 dice. So what happens here is that you slice through one of the droids at Lethwell. What is the guiding moment that you give to him to where Ka is able to take out one of the 2 droids?
I think that through the Force, I indicate where prey would be on the Earth, because Ka is a hunter, so he instinctively knows that's where his prey would be and slices above it.
Nice. I like it. Cool. So that ends that first round. It was 1 go from me, 1 go from you. Now we're to a new round. We look at the dice. Who's got the highest? You only have 1 die right now. So I am going to push forward an 8. Now, what happens there is that droid zips around behind you. The remaining droid zips around behind you, and you can hear it, but then you hear those echoes. And so it sounds like it's in front of you. You can smell it, but it's moved around so much, and that there's the remnants of the one by your feet, that the smell betrays you as well. It's utterly confusing, and only by reaching through to Lethwell can you do it. Now, mechanically, you can't meet that 5 + 8 with what you have, but you have things, you have traits and belongings that you can bring into this to give yourself some more dice. Or you can escalate the conflict or change it to a different arena if there's some other way that you think you can try to act. So in short, you can bring in your big lightsaber. Absolutely. Totally legit. Perhaps, we should probably assign some dice to the Trandoshan senses and short fuse.
I didn't know how many traits to put in, and so I just like...
Oh, yeah, I mean, as you can see from these guys, a bunch. You have 5d6 and 2d8. You can only assign dice from one type. So you could put Trandoshan senses at like 2d6, and you could put your short fuse at 1d8. And you can add in a few other traits as you like. And I'm sorry I didn't do more guiding with that.
No. That's fine. Totally fine. Okay, so I'll do short fuse. Yeah. Can they reduce or increase over time? So like,
yes.
Could I have a trait that's very high, and then over time as I work, I can work it down?
Yep. These Fallout dice that we have right here are going to be affecting those traits.
Okay. Okay. So let's say that I haven't managed my anger yet, so I'm going to put a full 2d8 in my Transition senses. We're going to put 3d6 in there. No, 2d6 in there.
Where Limbo's like, maybe there's a reason he should stay here.
I should put something like should I do this?
The answer to that question is basically always yes.
Yes. Calm emotions. I'm going to put 1d6 in it.
Nice. You've actually got a little calm emotion in there. I love it. I love it. It's like mix of both sides, the yin and the yang. Good stuff.
Okay. All right. So let's just do with that. I'll add traits later. It's not very...
Okay. No problem. No problem. So easily bring in that big lightsaber. I say go ahead and roll that. We'll just go ahead and call that 2d8.
Sounds good.
Any of these traits you want to bring in as well? You've been using your Trandoshan senses.
At this point... once I suffer the loss, I will roll the short fuse, but I'm not going to do it just yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to use the lightsaber, and I'll just try to use. So I'll go to my physical, and then I'll resort to something else afterwards.
Okay, so roll those lightsaber dice.
Ooh,
nice.
That's better.
Fantastic. Okay, so you've got a couple of options here. You can use the 3 and the 5 or the 7 and 5. There is no benefit to going over my 8.
Yeah. So I'll use the 3 and the 5.
All right. So you move forward the 3 and the 5. You bring in that big lightsaber. What is it? How is it that you block the attacks from this droid?
So I'm a big Trandoshan, so I have a big lightsaber to go with the big Trandoshan. So I just It's like we said that it was gonna come. No, coming from the ground was last round. This round, it's moving all over the place. So I just take it out and I just whip it around, just like in a giant spiral. Like
nice.
I'm gonna get something in here. Like
yeah, you like effectively block it, and you find from the sound that it was behind you. Lethwell gave you moments warning in the last moment. So you met my attack. Now you can come back. You can try to grab for more dice, or you can just lead with the 7. I'll go ahead and tell you, 7. I've only got the 1. So what does this attack look like?
So
this will win. You're going to defeat the droid at this point.
So at a certain point, I hear Lethwo say, "It's coming in front of you," and I just stab it.
Nice. Oh, sort of like, oh, that's perfect. Perfect. So those 2 dice get used up. You've defeated those. And Novakalos comes down, removes the blindfold, and he uses his lightsaber to. He doesn't. I choose a Jedi who just kind of holds out the lightsaber and offers it for you to put your hands over it. And he says a few words to welcome you into the status of being a Padawan. Now, Padawan learner, you get to roll Fallout. Now, here's how Fallout works. So Fallout dice is based off of the type of conflict, the highest conflict you went into. Guess what? We started off with lightsaber duels, but lightsabers weren't used against you. It was blaster bolts. So I'm going to say that you roll D10s. Now, it doesn't matter what the die types that go to Fallout were, they become the die type of what Fallout dice you get. So blaster bolts are D10s. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 76. You get to roll 7d6 or 7d10. And I'll clear. And you're going to pick out what the 2 highest of those D10s are. Okay. So you got 2 6s. That is a 12. On a 12,
it could have been worse.
It could have been worse. On a 12, you get 2 long-term Fallout. Oh, also we need to see if there are any ones. Yes, awesome. So this is great. You get 2 long-term Fallouts and 1 experience Fallout. That's good. Like if you roll 14 ones or 1-1, it's the same thing. You get to roll. You get to pick from the experience Fallout. So what you're going to do? We're going to move on, but you, Blaze, get to make a few choices. Mm-hmm. You get to choose 2 things from the long-term Fallout, this chart. You get to choose 1 thing from the experience Fallout. Experience Fallout is almost always pretty good. Long-term Fallout is always pretty interesting. Now you'll notice, hey, you get a new trait or a new relationship at D4.
Yeah.
Well, the rough part of the D4 is that, like, you're trying to, when you're rolling those relationships, you're trying to roll and get higher numbers, right? So it's like those are problematic relationships. That's what D4 is used. Okay. And then add 1D to an existing D4, it makes it worse. So take a look. You get 2 long-term Fallouts, and you get 1 experience Fallout. And we'll come back to you in a little bit and ask what you've done there. So you can just do that while we're going on. Okay. Okay, a new background pick? 2. Oh, yeah. I didn't see that from chat. Yeah, I don't know why. I just like switching out the different background picks. Sweet. So Ka, you graduated effectively. You now get to go out. You guys have a nice celebration. Lethwa, what is something special that you bring to this party? Is there a particular Ithorian delicacy, or is there some kind of crafted thing that you bring to help celebrate Ka's graduation here?
Yes. I think I've gone out into the jungle and I've gathered some vines and I've woven them together into kind of a sash. I see he has in the picture, he has kind of a sash. So this is kind of like a living sash that he has, so he can take the jungle with him wherever he goes.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's why I pick on Steven, because he's next level, guys.
Wow. All right.
So good. Ooh, just a moment for reflection. That is really thoughtful. Awesome. Lin Vo, you know that Lethwell went out into the jungle, has been working on this ever since you guys got back. Is there anything that they are doing to recognize this, or any words that you share with Ka after his graduation?
Yeah, I think that Linvo is interested to see what Ka wants outside of the Jedi Temple, because Ka was so anxious to graduate. It's like, well, what are you looking for now that you've done it? Was it just to do it, or was it that you want to go somewhere and do something?
It's really funny because you're right. I wanted to do it because I feel that this like could take me on a path to be mindful and be peaceful with myself. It sounds a bit short-sighted compared to a lot of Jedi teachings and things, but it's more like I'm on the journey. I don't necessarily know what the destination looks like.
That's pretty Jedi to me.
According to your perspective. Cool. So there's some celebration, a little bit of slightly fermented wines that taste good, mostly sweet wines, nothing to get you, like you'd have to drink a lot as a Trandoshan, a lot. Like you'd probably, your belly would be full before you get too much of a buzz. And then as all of you are gathered around this like huge round stone table, Nova Kalos announces, "Now that our circle has grown larger, I have a new mission to send some of you on. Because Basti is here, Aroli and Kaliana, the two of you will remain. There is more work to be done here, and Basti needs your assistance along with mine. Ka, you will accompany Lethwell and Linvo. The three of you will be heading to a town called Mercy on Ragas 3. I have heard through some contacts that there is someone, a Jedi, at this town. I do not know this person. They call themselves Artano. I am concerned that they call themselves a Jedi, but I do not know them. But I also understand the galaxy is vast. I've tried to reach through the Force to contact this individual, and I have been unable to, which is why I'm sending you. Please go to Mercy, visit this Artano, and if he is willing, if he is worthy, perhaps he will help this temple. If not, and he serves the ways of the Force, then leave him in peace." Do you have any questions, my young Padawan learners?
What if he does not serve the way of the Force?
That is why I've sent the three of you.
I see.
If he is a threat to our way of life, or if he defames the Force, then I expect you to take what action is needed to stop him. Linvo, you seem concerned. Do you have any questions or thoughts?
No, Master.
Alice, I am very excited, as a Jedi can be from time to time, that you will be joining your fellow Padawans. Do you have any concerns? All right, we will pick up then with you guys heading out. That after with the full bellies, you head back onto the Silver Dart. Grum Rabor has maybe stolen a few of the extra like bits of food because you can smell it in the ship. The silver dart is a style of freighter old enough that there's a small, there's like a small, effectively garden to help help the refreshers with their work and refreshing the oxygen. Oxygenation in the silver dart is a little problematic, so he pulls in some new plants as well as having taken some of the extra food. And soon enough, you guys will be taking off. Grom is the captain of the ship, but you guys are expected to help out with any cleaning, maintenance, that kind of stuff. You've received like training at Star Wars, so most people know how to make starships go, more or less. Um, are there any scenes that anyone wants to have on the Silver Dart as you are flying out to Ragas 3?
I think Linvo would chat with Lethwell and Kaz definitely invite about our conversation with Nova Kalos and what we should do, the Jedi. Get into that.
I like it. So where would you have this conversation? You take a look at the Silver Dart. You've got some floor plans. Where do you think you guys would chat?
We'll probably hang out in the lounge. That's where we've had most of our conversations.
Cool. Wait, where did you say?
In the lounge.
Oh, in the lounge. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Good. The lounge is 9 on deck 2. So it's actually got a Dejaric table. That's the base chest that on the Millennium Falcon. A few tables, and there's even a little HoloNet emitter where you can watch HoloNet shows if you wish.
Yes.
Is Ka part of this conversation as well? Good. All right. So all three of you are there. You can hear the low hum of the ship. She's in hyperspace. And in Linvo, they have approached you with some concerns. You can feel.
Yeah, but I think that we're out there like playing Dejaric. And then Linvo is just kind of like, do you think that we would have to kill the Jedi if that they were not a Jedi?
I think as long as no harm is coming to anyone, I think that the Jedi can be peace. We can leave the Jedi in peace, or they can come. The Jedi can come with us. If it turns out they're not the Jedi, then if they are damaging the people of the town or striking out in hate through the Force, they can cause more damage than to such a place, and probably should be pruned. What do you think of this?
I could understand if they were striking out with the dark side of the Force, but if they were not using the Force, I do not know if it's truly our responsibility to come in and police every community.
I read some obscure thought, some obscure passage or something of like how the temptation to the dark side is contagious, and or I'm reminded of a passage about how it's contagious, and I say just like Lethwo is right, in the jungle when a rabid animal is going through his rage cycle, there are a lot of chances that he will infect others to his cause or to his plight, and so that will make our task over time even more difficult. So there might be a case to be made that taking this person out might be better for the area than right now than coming back, as you said when you talked about like how minds are consuming others. Like that is one way to pruning or cutting the thing at the root.
Linvo, it seems like the two of them are into pruning.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it definitely seemed like that.
What do you think, Linvo?
I think that from what I have read in the archives on the temple, that the old Jedi Order also seemed to think that pruning was a good idea and that they should help police the rest of the galaxy, but they aren't around anymore, and I'm not sure what they were doing before was the best idea, and if repeating their mistakes is the way we should be going.
I think you're very wise. We should watch to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that the previous Jedi did. It's a very complicated situation.
Complicated it is. Well, no use speculating until we see it for ourselves.
At that moment, there's like a bit of a flash of shame that shows up on my face, and I try to hide it.
Ooh, does anyone call Kai call Ka on that moment, or do you let it slide?
Linvo will let it slide.
Yeah.
Feels like a good end to the scene. Nice little stinger at the end there. I like that. See you guys coming out of hyperspace. Grummer Boar calls over the intercom. Ragas 3 ahead. We're coming out of light speed, just out of the gravity well, friends. Be prepared. It appears that this Ragas 3 is some kind of crystalline planet. Up until a few years ago, the crystal mines were pretty profitable for this, but seems like the fall of the Empire has caused their supplies to... They're having a few troubles getting things. It looks like the exports have dropped significantly. And Rich will... I'm going to screen share. Unfortunately, it's like the picture's just big enough to like... Here, let me if I do that. I'll do that. Yes, that looks better. And I'll share a pic for you guys to look on your own. As you guys land just outside. This doesn't have a spaceport, but it is a relatively flat land. The town of Mercy is like they've actually hewn into large crystalline structures to create. There's like a cantina / bar, and there's a factory here that does a lot of refinery. And they had what used to be an administrative kind of hall, but now it's grown into a bit of disuse. And then this is the center of town. There are other crystalline huts and houses that are located outside this place. And in here in the middle, and that's the first thing that you guys see as the Silver Dart is flying over to find a proper landing space, is that this central area, there's this glowing white crystal that's bright enough to where even when Ragas 3 is in darkness, Mercy is kept in light, at least the town center itself. And those beams of light kind of shine out like a 4-pointed, 5-pointed star. There's some other pieces here that block it. Is that good? You guys, I thought that was a cool picture, so I really wanted to use it. That's what we are. Star Wars, right? This is Crystal World. Yay! Awesome. So you guys land, and do you imagine like you guys land close enough to where you just walk into Mercy? I would imagine it so, but I just want to double check. We're all on the same page. Cool. All right. So where do you want to head? The obvious areas based on your little data pad readout is that there is a bar. It's called The Last Prayer. There's a factory. You do hear that it is active. You've come during, I mean, it's hard to tell what's day and night once you get into Mercy itself because it's always bright. There are a few other places you could go. That administrative office is another possibility if you want to talk to somebody who's in charge of the town.
Should we? I know this sounds very traditional, but should we hit the bar? I'm not gonna get drunk, but whatever.
I mean, my smuggler's instinct lines right up with that. It's the best place to go.
I think the last planet that we were on, Lethwo said, "Oh, let's go see the authorities," and I think his feelings now say, "I will follow my partners to the bar." Because if I'm not mistaken, Linvo found Costi in the bar.
It's true.
It all happens at the bar. Star Wars, right? It's a space western. Cool. Guys, I'd like to call this our mid-game break. It's a little on the early side. I hope that's okay. It's 14 after. Let's just take 10 minutes, and then we'll jump straight into last prayer. So we'll see you guys in 10.
Sure.
I had to make a quick call. My son's actually having, since we moved in like June of last year, for the first time, he's having somebody come spend the night. And there's a project that's due. And evidently, the kid who's going to spend the night hasn't even started it. And they've had a month. And Donovan started his a week ago and is mostly done. So part of their hanging out together is going to be working on this project with a wood glue and popsicle sticks. So I thought at first that they were going to be like, he can't come over. So I had to say, like, Donovan's going to be working on this. So I'll make sure he gets some work on it. You guys can borrow our wood glue, that kind of thing. And like, okay. So there was some coaxing. I didn't want it to fall through for poor Donovan. He's at a weird spot, right? Because it's middle school and they're all 8th graders. So every other kid already has their like cliques and like who they hang out with. And he's the outsider looking in. So I'm like, yeah, well, whatever I need to do. If I've got to kind of mother hen those guys on their dumb project, that's what I'll do. Dad stuff. I'll shut up. All right. Star Wars times. Cool. So you guys have come to the crystalline town of Mercy. And after some brief conversation between the three of you, you head into the last prayer, which you know because in Albec, that's the Star Wars-y basic language. It says last prayer and the little neon thing on the outside of the crystal. Question, are the three of you dressed in the traditional robes of the Padawan or the Jedi?
Of course not.
Lethwo is.
Nice.
I assume I am. I assume I'm wearing like the garb and
cool. So you got the kind of the hood and all that good stuff. Yeah. Awesome. So two of you walk in with Linvo looking like they're not one of you.
So Linvo, do you want to come in separately? Do you want to be associated with us?
Linvo's fine walking in.
Okay.
And Linvo also totally has like the big temple guardian lightsaber, which is like the dual bladed. So like it's got the big hilt and it's just like strapped to their leg and obvious, but they just don't wear the robes.
Okay.
It's like I'm with them, but I'm not with them. Okay.
Exactly.
Three of you walk in and you see that the majority of the people who are here are in ruddy coveralls. They appear pretty blue collar. You see that there's a woman, and if you check in the NPCs and places on row 5, there's a dark-skinned woman behind the bar who has her hair kind of pulled into these cool-looking rows. There's a Rhodian and another a human woman. The two of them are seated at a table, and the Rhodian is obviously some kind of engineer / gearhead. You also see that there's a woman with blue hair. That's a picture of Devereaux down on row 8. That they are all in here. And the woman behind the bar will be the first. She waves a greeting. And a lot of eyes head your way. A little suspicious. Less so for Linvo, even though Linvo, you appear to be the only Nautilin here. A lot of eyes towards Ka, because Jedi robes plus Trandoshan. But and some suspicion towards Lethwo as well. I mean, he's a big Ithorian. Who even sees Ithorians? When the bartender kind of waves you guys over, do you guys head over to chat with her? Welcome. Come here. First drink's free.
So I ask for some broth, some kind of sustenance or something like that, and I will eat and drink and talk to the bartender at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Ka, as you're walking past a couple of workers, in one of them, you can hear him mutter, "Oh, great. Another carking Jedi." Yeah.
So I do my best, and that means like I'm really bad at it, to have some sort of social composure like that. Like my eyes are darting over to everyone. Like you can visibly see that I am not comfortable at all in this environment. And I don't know if like I look like I'm sneering at everything and everyone, but I am visibly uncomfortable, anxious, and yeah, the opposite of calm and collected.
Welcome, my Thorian friend. I'm Lily Shatterstar. The last prayer's my place. Brings you to Ragas 3.
We are here seeking out others of our brethren, and thought that this might be a good place to stop and break bread and find out more information. Do you know anything about someone named Artano?
Oh yes. And she moves over and you see she like opens up this little distilled water, purified water tap and pours some water, puts it out in front of you, Linvo, and then she peers at you, Kalis, and says, "What will you have, my big friend?"
And I look around and I'm like, just anything. It doesn't really matter. Nothing's gonna get me drunk.
Oh, understood. That's. And then she pours a little bit of some grain alcohol and puts it in front of you. As Artano is here, he's been here for a year now. He showed up around the time that everything dried up for the town and started having some trouble with raiders. But he's kept us safe for a price. Yes.
He charges you?
Well, yes. Of course. I mean, effort's not free, right? So he gets a few credits from what we can scrape together, and sometimes we pay him in barter. But yeah.
And you said that things dried up here at the town. Is this when the Empire left?
When the Empire fell, when it started the fall, yes, everything dried up. Contracts went awry. A lot of the freighters who used to come here and pick up the crystals that we would refine renegotiated for things in the core worlds, and things started getting really tough. And now we have a warehouse of crystals. No one to take it. She points over and you see the blue-haired human woman, Dev, over there. She crash landed. She hasn't been able to get off Mercy since. She's been here for a few months. Can't even afford to get her ship repaired.
So out of character, what are these crystals used for?
It's a really fair question. So they're definitely not kyber crystals.
Right.
Just to be clear, super not kyber crystals. The crystals, from the research that Grom Rabor shared with you guys, the crystals they're not strong enough to really hold lasers, so they're mostly ornamental, and they can be used for short-term data crystal, so they can hold data for short-term. So imagine USB drives, but not like I can make a badass crystal hard drive type deal. Because remember, we use crystals in Star Wars because, I don't know, crystal magic.
But they're not used in art or something like that. They're used in data transfer kind of stuff.
I mean, they are generally used in data transfer. Yes, you could use crystal for art, but it's not a medium that most people that they sell to work in. Perhaps an untapped potential. But it's art, so there's no money in art.
But these crystals are worth something.
They're worth something.
They've got a warehouse full.
Yes.
Worth a decent amount regardless how much.
Yes. An enterprising individual who could get the contracts could help this town get back on their feet again, but that has not quite worked out for some reason. She says, so you came to talk to Artano. Came on a ship? The girl with the blue hair perks up, and it's as if Lily kind of said it louder to get Devereaux's attention, and Devereaux will come up.
I answer without even thinking it while I'm looking all over. Of course, we came on a ship. What else would we have come on?
And Devereaux will come up, and she sees the three of you, and she comes up to you, Linvo, and like puts her hand on your lower back and like steps beside you and says, "Hey, I heard that you travelers came in on your own starship. I'm Devereaux, Captain Devereaux."
But captain without a ship, judging by your situation.
You're not wrong, friend, but ships come and go.
It's true. It's true they do.
Can I help you with anything? Because, I mean, 3 Jedi, surely you need somebody to take care of things. I know this city pretty well. I've been in Mercy for a few months now. Anything you guys need? You want to talk to Baron? He's the town leader. Or Artano. I can take you to Artano, although I have to be honest. The two of us don't exactly get along, but I can show you where he can normally be found when he's not driving off raiders.
Story I'd like to hear. I didn't move too fast. Why don't you and Tano get along?
She looks around, and Lily kind of moves the other side of the bar. Like, not rudely, just, "I'll be over here away from this conversation."
Mm-hmm.
And Dev looks back over her shoulder, and she leans in a little bit and speaks a little lower, but the three of you can all hear. She says, "I don't know Jedi, but the things he asks for, I know he keeps this town safe, but I don't like the way he looks at the women. I don't like the way he treats these people. He's not a very nice person. I mean, they are thankful and also afraid. But I'm not, you know. Maybe I could get off this planet with you guys. I know my way around a ship. And while I haven't fixed my own, it's only due to lack of materials. I figure if you need a deckhand, first mate, gunner, hell, a porter."
And then Bo's kind of sitting back, considering. About how long has Tano been in this town? Years?
A year, yeah. He showed up before I did. He kind of had his hooks in this town before I came into town. Not that I'd fight a bunch of raiders. I mean, let's be honest.
Sounds like a pretty cushy gig, besides the raiders, of course.
I won't lie. He gets that big red sword of his and takes care of things and then goes back to his little hut every once in a while.
Why are the raiders attacking? This town is struggling so much. What can they take?
Oh, they'll take crystals. They've blown up a few places. They robbed the last prayer just a week ago. Took a bunch of her alcohol. Lily doesn't want to talk about it. I'm not sure why. People want to give up. They think, if Artano wasn't here to keep the raiders at bay, they just come in and take everything. But then they can't sell this stuff. They just keep making it. They don't know what else to do with their lives.
Why wasn't the last prayer protected whenever the raiders came to stole alcohol recently?
She glances down at Lily, lowers her voice, says, Lily wouldn't sleep with him.
Ah.
So he kind of removed his protection, and her brother was not too happy about that. Not happy at all. So some people from the town pitched in, took care of Artano, tried to get things back on track, and nothing's happened since then.
It doesn't seem like he's been too hospitable. I think we should probably go and chat.
Does he have any friends in town? Artano?
I mean, he's not a friendly sort. He mostly sees us as marks. Nah, that's not right. Just servants, really.
You've been very, very helpful, Dev. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Lethwell. Do you want me to guide you to Artano's hut?
Since the two of you don't get along, maybe you should just tell us, and we can go.
Okay. What if I tell you where he is, and you tell me where your ship is, and maybe I could talk to your captain?
I assume we can radio back to the captain, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can,
You guys got
yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
I mean, Linvo is definitely recognized as a fellow smuggler in need, and would put in a good word.
You know, I worked with a Nautilin a while back. I like you guys. Good, thank you so much. I'll head to your ship's way, and then she gives you quick directions. The hut, as she calls it, is actually located on the map. It's, if you take a look, it's just to beneath, or kind of it's in the southernmost complete area there. You guys walk across the town center, I assume, making your way towards where you've been pointed to Artanos.
Yeah, just like three long cowboys.
I love it. The sun casts the crystal in the middle casts these long shadows of you guys as you're walking towards Artanos. And you see, if you can take a look at the picture, it's the one that there are a few steps that head up, and then there's a central area, and like it looks like maybe this was some kind of, before everything fell apart, it looks like this may have been some kind of store, but now Artano is effectively taking it over. So this front room, you see there are several empty counter spaces and display cases. Perhaps there were curios that were sold here, or perhaps it was some kind of trading goods store. And then there's a very stout looking door that actually has a like key code type thing that would head to the back area. What do you do?
I feel like going behind, like circling across the buildings.
Mhm.
Like, this place looks like there's probably a back door.
Do you think he's going to run?
I just want to make sure that, if we go in, we can get him by both ends.
That makes sense. Should we stay here and you want to scout around the outside?
Yes, please.
Cool. I think we do that. But Lethlo and Linvo will make a front approach after Ka is stationed to intercept anyone running away.
So, and I think Lethwo stays behind Linvo and kind of to the left, because Linvo has more experience with more worldly people, with scoundrels and all that kind of stuff. And I'll let them talk to Artano, make sure that they get a good feel for what this person is like.
Cool.
That's a great plan. I love it. Do you like knock on the door? It's one of those like metal doors that would just slide open if the correct key code and the key sequence, or if somebody seems like
Yeah, we'll just Linvo will kind of step up and knock.
Cool. You hear one of those little eyes comes out, on the stalk. And he says, "Put your head down."
Hello. New in
The eye
town.
stalk turns and then the iris seems to go, and you can hear it whirring as it goes up. And then you hear another voice, calmer, say, "Stranger, why have you come to my home?"
We're new. We heard that you were an important person in this town. So we figured we should make an introduction.
"What's your name, Nautilin? And the hammerhead behind you, what's his name?"
My name is Linvo, and my associate here is Lethwell.
The door opens up, and before, like, everything was dusty and it looked like it was, poorly used, not upkept. You come in here, the first thing you smell is just like a hint of spice, like spice. There's the colors and the crystals used for light here are much softer. You see that there are quite a few nice accoutrements here. There's some really cool, like, tears. It's mismatched. It's almost like college guy who happens to be in a really ritzy neighborhood and kind of tag sales all the best possible stuff, And you see that the main area here is almost set up like a little bit of a playroom. There's some seats, and you see there's a little hollow projector, and you see Artano. He's this human. I've stuck him into NPCs and places. And his robes. Lethwell, what is one thing that you pick out about his Jedi robes that don't look right? Is it the quality of the fabric? Is it the cut? What is it about his Jedi robes that look like dime store knockoff?
Actually, it's that the robes look a lot more comfortable. They're like soft.
That's perfect.
Like a bathrobe or a bedrobe.
Yeah.
He's got a Jedi Snuggie, is what we're saying. All right. I'm here for that. Artano he's on like a divan, that kind of couch seat combo thing. And he's got his elbow on one of the things. And you see, while he's wearing the Jedi robes, he has a lightsaber. It's like a double-bladed lightsaber that's just affixed at his belt. And seated on the floor in front of him is a very nervous-looking Twi'lek woman.
I think Linvo will appear unconcerned by the situation and kind of stride in and like take a seat, preferably in a way that like sets up a conversation between Arturo and Linvo, with the Twi'lek women like excluded from it. But like if the Twi'lek wants to run outside, they could do that.
Okay.
And Lethwell kind of limps in, leaning on his staff.
Right. You saw that injury. That's awesome. I mean, not awesome for you, but good color. You wear Jedi robes like me. Hammerhead? How interesting. Where did you get them?
I earned them.
Good. Interesting.
So Arturo, you do a lot for this town.
I do. This town would be wiped off the map if it weren't for me.
Raiders have been quite the issue, so I hear.
You aren't wrong, friend. But I'll tell you, I've got things taken care of. So if you're looking for some credits, sorry, you're going to have to move along. I'm sure there are other towns that have raiders. Wish you the best of luck.
Doesn't seem as though the help keeps the town on the map, but it doesn't seem to be still shrinking.
Now, that's business for you, friend. And the Empire fell. That's not my problem. Eventually, they'll be too small to fend for themselves, too small to pay me, and I'll dry up. But until then, I will keep these poor people safe from raiders. Isn't that right? And he reaches forward and he kind of runs his hand possessively along the leku, who's the brain tail of the Twi'lek girl, and her eye twitches because she knows he can't see it, but she doesn't flinch away from him.
I see.
Is there anything else the two of you need? Just here to chat, it looks like. You've heard what you want. You can go.
What are your feelings on hate and rage?
Try to avoid it, friend. Unless I need it. You know.
And what temple did you say you trained at?
Nice. He sits up finally, kind of slides, like he seems very languid about it.
Linvo is still in the relaxed, we're just chatting conversation pose.
He says, "Oh, there's an old Jedi Temple on Pazab. You know, the Gamorreans. They don't even know it's there. I went there and trained. Taught from ancient Jedi spirits."
I think now that we're breaking this now, what may be conflict?
I think so. Yeah. So right now you guys are just talking.
Yeah.
What is it you want out of this?
I don't know. I think that Linvo kind of wants him to drop the Jedi stuff and just admit that he's kind of a bully who's protecting the town for money. I mean, the situation's not great, but the first step is being upfront about it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's slide into a conflict. Lethwell, you can also roll dice. You need to roll your color. And then what happens is you guys will each have goes. And you'll team up on this guy if you want. So I'm going to cut away just before we go to dice to what Ka's doing outside. So Ka, you're waiting for this guy to run. And, oh, you just disappeared. Welcome back. Awesome.
I did the thing where I mute all the things instead of unmute all the things.
I love that. I love when I do that.
So I surprisingly, this is the thing that I feel the most comfortable and calm to do, which is quietly wait for something to show up.
So you're waiting in this back alley, for lack of anything else, at the edge of Mercy, and he doesn't come running out. They seem to be doing whatever they're doing inside, and it's going on for a bit. And then you hear, because you've got those Trandoshan senses, right? You hear the footfalls of someone's boots on the crystalline dust. And around the corner comes a dark-skinned man who is very much a cyborg. If you want to take a look on row 8, you see Jordan Shatterstar. And he comes around. He was moving quickly, not running, but just walking quickly. And when he comes around the corner, he sees you. And you see he's got red eyes, and he scans you. It's obvious, like you can hear it.
Yeah.
Huh.
I look uncomfortable, and I'm trying to not show that I'm gonna reach for my saber, but again, it's not subtle. And I just look at him, very, I'll say half puzzled, half like interrogating, and I'm like, "What's your business here?" Oh, actually, no. I actually state Jedi business. Move along.
Ooh, nice. Cool. So you say Jedi business, move along, and yeah, there's a moment where he hesitates. He was like, he did this twitch with his hand, and a blaster kind of popped out from underneath his sleeve. You're not sure if it was embedded in his forearm or there was just some kind of trick holster, but he had a blaster. He had it to the side as he saw you draw him, but then you said Jedi business, and he holds his free hand out. You working with Artano? No. He didn't say anything about this.
Because playing coy is not something I do. I say, working with him, how? How would we work with him?
He peers at you, and then he reaches up, kind of touches the ear, and you can see him moving his mouth. He's speaking to some kind of
I just take out my lightsaber.
All right. Nice. All right.
I take a whack at it.
We got two different conflicts going on. This is awesome. All right. Cool. So I am going to share screens, and we'll jump into conflict. We're going to do two different conflicts, and this is going to be wild, friends. Screen 2 is not that one. Screen 1. Good. Can you guys see the awesome picture of some Padawans and Yoda from Clone Wars and Ahsoka Tano? All right. Let me warn you, friends, this is not your initiation. This is a person who has a lightsaber. This could be very hard. Just warning you. All right. So we will start with Linvo and Lethwo as you are having this conversation. Now, what was the trigger point of the conversation? I think we're still just talking, right?
Yeah, I think the trigger point started when Linvo was like, what temple did you say you trained at?
Cool. All right.
His next response sounded almost like him putting forth die.
It was. So yeah, we'll start off. He is going to go. So let's look at our conflict. We know what the stakes are. And right now we're non-fiscal or just talking. So acuity plus heart. And he is going to use his trait, I'm a Jedi. Just like up top, he's rolling it right up. Quote. By the way, Jedi is in quotes on his character sheet.
Nice.
Jedi in quotes. That is some pretty crap dice.
Is rolling yellow dice.
All right. Cool. Let me move these things down.
Lethwo is going to stay out of the conflict as long as talking's going on. At least for now. Yeah.
Don't worry. That won't be long. This many ones and twos, somebody's going to be escalating, and that somebody is Artano. Artano will be escalating soon. All right. So the highest dice that we have are Artano's. He is going to push forward a 10. You're taking some fallout right away as he says, yeah, and from my training, you aren't a Jedi. You aren't a Jedi at all. You're just some kind of pretender. They don't even let you wear the robes, huh? Nautilin? Fish face? Oh, that is his just talking. What do you do?
I can tap traits whenever.
You sure can.
I'm going to tap Deception for another D6, see if I can get another 5 or a 6.
All right. Roll it. Nope. So, unless you escalate this conflict, you're gonna have to take the blow.
No, I'll take it.
All right. What dice do you want to put forward?
I mean, he's got 10, so I'll put 4, 4, 4, 2.
Okay, so we'll just move those over to Fallout. Oh, cheese and crackers. Sorry. All right, and then I'll move these over to used dice.
And Limbo kind of, while still sitting there, says, "It's not the clothes that make the Jedi."
What are you putting forward? Because that's awesome.
I'll put forward the 5 and the 4.
Okay, and Steven, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, whenever he referred to Lin Vo as a fish face, I think Lethwo kind of, snorted, exhaled a little bit, but because he's got like 4 mouths and stuff, it kind of swirled the dust around.
Nice.
Very dramatic.
I love it. Yeah, I'm going to take some Fallout out of this. He takes the blow. Here's his reaction. He says, "Fine. I didn't make it through any kind of temple. I learned what I know because it called to me. I don't need your stupid rules. Studied. You guys fell because you were all wrong." But he's trying to deliver these lines like it's some kind of rebuke, but there's this sullenness, there's this wounded pride. You get a feeling that he's been kicked out of something.
Mm-hmm.
So we just did our first round. Leto, if you wanted to step in and jump in, you can and roll some dice to assist. Otherwise, we will keep going.
No, I'm fine.
And here is what he's going to do. He is going to escalate this conflict, friends, because he sees what dice he has. He is going to he's standing up, but he draws his blaster. He does not draw his lightsaber.
That's fine. I have a blaster on my hip too.
Cool. So what happens with blaster fighting is that you would roll acuity plus will, but we've already rolled acuity in this game because we start in this conflict because you started with physical. So all he does is add his will dice in, and he's using his stuff. So he's using his blaster, high quality blaster. Mm-hmm. So his will is very, very strong, friends. Here comes a lot of dice.
Good.
Yeah, so he's going to put forward a 12 as he holds out the blaster and says, "Oh, real Jedi can block blaster bolts," and then he fires at you. What do you do?
All right. So I can escalate again, right? So I could
absolutely
pull out my lightsaber and block some blaster bolts, right?
Yeah. So blaster fighting is what you'd be escalating to, and a lightsaber duel is heart plus will. You've already rolled heart, so you can bring in your will as you escalate this conflict to that. You can roll your will, plus any traits or belongings that you feel are appropriate, like that badass lightsaber.
Oh, wait. I guess, actually, I think my best case is actually I think that might be escalating a little bit too fast. That I think, could I get away with, what is the fighting category?
Oh, so in rules reference, physical, body plus heart.
Okay. What is so there's physical and then there's body plus
I'm sorry.
will.
There's there's physical, there's fighting, there's blaster, and lightsaber. So, sorry, you're fighting. So it'd be body plus will. Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah. So I think maybe I want to avoid drawing my lightsaber right now and just like dodge the blaster bolts. But I don't need to rise to his level, but I could just dodge them.
Okay, so the difference between physical and fighting is that physical would be what you dodge. Fighting is I'm gonna dodge and run in and punch him.
Okay.
That's the main difference between the two.
And I guess would a dodge and then disarming him, would that be?
That would count as fighting. Yeah.
Let's
yeah,
do that.
Okay, cool.
I don't need to draw my lightsaber. I'll just martial arts you down.
Okay, you're bringing in body plus will. You have not rolled either of those yet, so go for it.
Oh, cool. 8d6 because my will is crap. So many ones and twos.
That's some crap roll, bro. All right, what you putting forward? You got a 12 to meet.
Yeah, I'll put forward. Put forward 4-4-3-1.
Wow.
And I think Linvo will just kind of like roll, twist out of the chair, and barely gets like grazed by the shot.
I'm good with that. That seems appropriate. Lethwo, he has a blaster, and he has just shot your friend Linvo.
Yeah, so I think he pulls out the blaster, and Lethwo kind of, inhales as if in shock, and then he's going to exhale, and he's going to scream, which is, for Ithorians, this is kind of a concussive thing.
Right.
So I'm going to fight, and so I'm going to go ahead and roll my dice.
Yes, let's go ahead.
Okay, so I've got green. Okay.
Oh. My 6 is there.
Keep grabbing the wrong dice. It's okay. This tool is moderately sufficient for what it does. All right. So we'll move these dice over here. I'm just going to kind of stack them for now.
Yep.
That's some good 6s, though.
Yep. I'll put the 2 6s forward. And effectively what I'd like to do is I want to blow out the crystals in this place. Just shatter them all.
Oh, that's crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
I can't get that 4. Weird. There it is. Move. All right, fine. What dice are you putting forward?
Let's put forward 2 6s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are in this conflict.
Yeah.
Putting forward the 2 6s. And you burst all of these. That is so weird. I'm gonna do a refresh, see if we can get things better. All right. Wow, they just magically showed up. That's awesome. Sweet. He's got to respond to that. Yeah, I think he's gonna draw. You feel it. Both of you feel it, and Ka, you feel it outside. He draws upon the dark side to protect him from all of these shards. There we go. That's what he wanted. Sorry. All right. So 7. He can't turn the blow, but he can tie you. So that's good enough. So he takes the blow. So what happens is all of these crystals shatter, and he forms up. You see this reddish glow around him like a nimbus, and the crystal dust all kind of bounces off, and he chuckles. He's still holding the blaster. He hasn't even drawn his lightsaber yet. So yeah, that was the most dice. I think you, Linvo, would go next because of the way you escalated to Joanne, but you already did. So now it's time for him to react. So he is going to now when he does a thing, you both have to see this. So what he's doing is firing in a wide arc with all of you guys as he's moving back. So he's firing at both of you, and you have to see a 10, which is his action.
Cool. I think Linvo puts forth the 4 and the 6 to see him and kind of like does one of those Jedi acrobatic backflippy dodges across the room, like closes the distance with him.
Cool. What about Lethwa?
And Lethwo is actually going to I'm going to roll some dice. I'm going to roll my pacifist.
Ooh.
And I'm going to try to put myself between me and the Twi'lek to get her out.
Nice.
So let me submit.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and let's take some fallout from that. So I'll put forward. I have to meet a 10. So I'll do a 3 and a 4 and 3 1s. Yeah. And I think this is where I'm taking the blow as I'm trying to usher her out.
Nice. You usher her out. You're successful in it. This Twi'lek girl's screaming from all of this, and she's got a bunch of small cuts along her face and her arms from all the crystal explosion, and you're able to get her to safety, but you get shot in the back because that's appropriate. Shot in the back. That is some fallout that you'll be feeling, friend. All right. Awesome. We will clear out these dice. Not clear them, but you move them to used. And now we're to the next round. Not looking good for him. He is not the highest. You get to lead things, Lethwa. You want to put forth the first, and what do you want to do in this conflict?
So I think that, he has escalated things. He is shooting us. He hasn't hit Linfolk yet, but he did wound me. I think I'm going to escalate it at this point to I'll pull out my lightsaber and use it to deflect any other bolts that are incoming.
Okay.
So that would be me rolling heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you want to bring your lightsaber as stuff, you can also roll that.
Ah, true.
Oh, nice.
And I'll put forward 2 6s as I reflect bolts back into his face.
Wow. That is awesome. Oh, this is not going to look good for him. Yeah, he's gonna potentially eat this. Hold on a second. He's used that. He's he's stubborn.
He hasn't pulled his lightsaber yet.
He hasn't pulled his lightsaber. Yeah, I think it's a thing where he's going to try to bounce this back using his lightsaber. Now, let's double check here. He has used blasters. So I think he's used all the dice that would have been part of lightsaber dueling. Heart plus will, because he did blaster fighting and non-physical. So yes, all he gets to bring in at this point is his red double-bladed lightsaber, which in and of itself is no slack. Bazinga. Come on. Oh, baby. All right. So he's got to beat a 12. Oh, dang it. He can't quite. Okay, he's going to take some fallout. Screw it, because he's got to save that 8. He's going to see if he can really hurt. All right. So I'm going to go. Got to do a 12, so he's going to eat a little bit of this. So what this looks like, is that the blaster quick draws the lightsaber and tries to block it, but he's not fast enough. He's not well trained enough. His movements are sloppy, and you are able to really hurt him. He staggers back, but now he has the lightsaber, and he calls. You can hear him whispering in some language you don't understand. So you were the first to go out. He gets to go next, and here's what he's doing. He is going straight at Lin Vo. Going to force you to lightsaber duel him as he says, "You're the weak ones. Get out of my town." And he is putting forth 15.
Yeah. Well, I think I need to use some strong uncontrolled force powers.
Okay. I think that seems like the right time.
It's like a pretty good idea. Let's get some good dice. Oh no. It's very not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'll draw my lightsaber.
All right, here we go.
It's time.
This is where this game forces you.
No, that's when you roll a 1 and a 3 on your d8s, it's time to draw your lightsaber.
So you're killing on a t-shirt.
Oh no!
That's pretty good though.
Yeah.
15 against a 14. You can just throw in a 1. You get a little bit of fallout.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
All right, is that what you want, or do you want to save that 8 for something else since you're gonna have to take fallout? Totally up to you.
That's true, but I don't think that's the only way to get 3 dice of fallout. Otherwise, it's considerably more.
Yep. All right, so you're gonna use the 8, the 6, and the 1.
Yeah.
All right, I just hate when it does this.
Yeah, and I guess like the ferocity of his spring is quite a lot, but Lin Vo recovers like just in time. And
oh, you take the blow.
There.
Like he's hurting you. We won't see until fallout how bad we're pretty sure he's gotten cut.
I mean, and I need to take that as well, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
It's the Lin Vo doesn't get cut in half, not so much the like
correct.
Lin Vo blocks
yes, that totally makes sense to me.
So I'm going to bring in the dice for my lightsaber, and I'm also going to bring in my relationship with Lin Vo.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm going to submit. Okay.
And some of your dice have moved up here, so let me grab those. All right, what are you putting forward to meet this 15?
So I think I'm going to put forward.
Looks like you got 5 5s.
Yeah, I'm going to put forward 3 of the 5s.
3 5s? All right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just go ahead and move those straight into fallout.
Right. And I think, he has ignited both sides of his saber, and this is an unfamiliar form for me. So I think as he's starting to, flail around with them, he gets under my guard.
Although it is a pretty cool fight that we have not yet seen in Star Wars, because Lin Vo has a double-sided blade as well. So.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Besides the Temple Guardian double-sided yellow sabers.
Love it. Okay, this is getting crazy. So he put forth his thing, you did your thing. I think it's now time for Lin Vo to raise before we go to the next round.
Sure, and I think that Lin Vo will try to use their force powers to grab his saber out of his hands, like pull it away from him. But
Oh my god.
only has. Oh, I guess I can roll. I'll roll my D4 for the force. Because if I roll 4, that actually changes
I
the
know.
playing field.
This would be great. Come on.
Come on, give it to me. No.
A 3. What are you putting forward?
I also put forward 2 3s.
Dang it, stop doing that. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I was just trying to check here. Is there anything he can do? So you're trying to pull his lightsaber? That's your action right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So here we go. Did I do pips for him? Yeah, I did. Okay. Didn't want to get weird and have 2 different things. So you start to reach for it. He blocks you by reaching out with his free hand. Like he lets go of the double blade lightsaber and arcs out force lightning.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he blocks that. But just barely. Like he's staggering. He's tired. He's worn. His eyes are turning a deep red now. And you can just feel the dark side emanating from him. And we go to the last round, probably here. You have the highest dice, Lethwo, you peace-loving, wonderful Ithorian you. What do you want to do? Oh, it's snowing outside. It's so pretty.
I'm so jealous. So Lethwo is going to, as the force lightning arcs out at Linvo, does it actually strike Linvo? I don't know how that resolved.
Well, he used it to block rather than as an attack. So I think what he did is he forced Linvo off. He threw Linvo off. He blocked it, and Linvo, they had to kind of move out of the way because otherwise I can't really have Linvo take fallout dice from that. So no, okay. I think Linvo maybe threw themselves to the floor, but didn't actually get struck by the lightning yet.
So I think that so Lethwo reaches out and kind of, steps in the way of the force lightning and gathers it forward. So I'll put forward I'll put forward my 2 6s.
Oh man, that's nasty.
Yeah. And gathers it up into like a little ball and then pushes it back at Arturo. And I think it, this is where we see like it boom and it explodes outward.
7, 8, 9, 10. He can't meet that. And I'm looking, there are no traits I think he can pull in. He's used every trick he has. He is going to lose this conflict. And so I'm going to have him give. He was ignite. So it was like quelt. Like, what is it called when you turn off? I guess turn off. Like his lightsaber turns off his lightsaber. He drops it to the ground. He scampers back and holds up his hands. He goes, fine, I give.
And I think Lethwo, kind of reaches over and takes the lightsaber and the blaster and kind of puts them in his pocket. And, then turns back to Linvo.
And I think we should probably roll Fallout to see how bad it gets before you guys start having conversations. Because it'd suck for you to have a big, long conversation and then someone rolled so bad they die. So
yeah.
Let me delete these dice out real quick.
Definitely a possibility with that much Fallout with lightsabers.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dice for Linvo's Fallout. Now, here's where things, to me, I want to make sure we're clear. Mm-hmm. The Fallout that you suffered was absolutely blaster bolt, but you never hit by a lightsaber. Right?
No.
In our fiction, you were never hit by a lightsaber. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10d10 is what you are rolling.
Oh boy. And if I roll 2 10s, I die.
I think so. Hold on. 20 is dying. Yes. So if you roll 2
Good.
10s,
It's on the table.
yeah, it's on the table.
All right. Well, not
18.
it's just incredibly bad.
Oh, so 18 is badly injured. Badly injured. And
Oh my
what?
God, and no ones. Wow.
Wow, that is
Though.
no ones either. Oh, it's the worst. Poor guy. So the badly injured is. Hold on, I'll look it up. So let's just write that down. We got badly injured for Linvo. Now Lethwell. I do not believe you were hit by a lightsaber bolt.
I don't think so. I think I was hit with a blaster in the back.
So you're rolling 8d10.
Okay.
Let me delete these off real quick.
Okay.
All right, 8d10.
Okay.
14. With a 14, you are injured.
Okay.
Which seems appropriate. Now, was Artano hit with a lightsaber?
I don't think so.
God, no one's for you either. It's the worst. I don't think so either. I think you guys did a lot of flashing of the lightsabers, but it was mostly blasters and force pushes and all that good stuff that was
Yeah,
happening.
I think it was just force and reflected blasters.
Okay,
Force
1,
lightning.
2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7. 7d10 for him. Come on. I want to. High numbers, come on. Oh!
There it is.
Oh, it was on the table and it happened. He surrendered himself, but then you see that there is a cut from one of those crystals, right? That his force didn't pull up and it's bleeding. And he's sitting there, he's like, I give, and the blood is just gushing out. And then he grows pale and he realizes what's happened and he falls to the ground. And so we will clear out. We're going to clear all the dice from the room because we got to fight outside. This is exciting. I'm sorry. It's just super excited. All right, cool. So we cut to outside. This guy, Jordan, had drawn his blaster, but you had your hand near your lightsaber. What are the stakes of this conflict? Like, what do you want this guy, Jordan Shatterstar, to do?
I want him to drop his pistol.
Okay, drop his pistol and surrender to you
Yeah.
because you said you in the name of the Jedi
Yep.
Order. Okay,
Yep.
Awesome. So he's not shooting you. We're going to start off with acuity plus heart.
Okay.
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 Sorry.
6. Oops.
He is a good talker, friend.
Yeah.
All right. So he's got the highest dice. He is going to go first. And here's what he's going to go ahead. He's going to force you to take a little bit of fallout. So he's going to say, I already work for a Jedi.
Okay. So my options are to either meet his, but I can't meet with 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
So I can either answer with 3, or take fallout or escalate.
Correct.
Okay.
If you have any, I don't think you have any blood or any relations that work here, but if you want to bring a thing in of some kind, you can do that to add dice before you try to see what he's put forward.
Okay. It's too early to take out my lightsaber, right?
I mean, you have your hand on it. You can easily just ignite the sucker.
Yeah, but then I won't be able to have them later. So
it's true. It's true.
I'm gonna go with calm emotions. I'm gonna add calm emotions, and I'm like, well, that's what we're here to. Nice.
You're learning. I'm so proud of you. Master Kalos made the right choice. See how those dice, they agree.
That'd be nice. No, what was added?
I think a 5 and like a 2.
Oh, 5 and a 2. Okay. All right. So then I'll take 3 dice. So I'll take the 5, and a 3, I think.
Okay, just be advised though, if going over 11 doesn't benefit you.
Oh, okay.
That means
okay.
Yeah, and if you use those, you can't use them in coming back at him. So
right. Okay. So I'll use a 5. 2, 2, and a 1.
Okay. Wait, 2, 2, 1, 5. So that is
no.
That's
sorry.
basically a 10.
So drop a 2 and add a 3.
Okay. I do not understand the logic of this, but it's like how it literally works. All right, cool. So he says, I've worked for a Jedi, and you realize like he doesn't know, right? He thinks you guys are all terrible people.
Yeah.
This is the only example he has is Artano. And you also, when he introduced him, I'm pretty sure he said his name, but you remember Devereaux said that this guy was pissed at Artano over his sister. So but here he is.
Here he is, yeah.
All right. So you took the blow, but now you get to raise against him.
Okay, so now I'm going to take out my lightsaber. Clearly, this is like not working, so I'm going to escalate to lightsaber.
Bring him in.
Okay, so do I just escalate the lightsaber, or do I escalate with like? Oh no, because it's the lightsaber first, and then it would be a duel or something like that, right? So escalate to lightsaber, and then if I were to escalate after that, I escalate by adding my willpower.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Okay.
Right now, you can bring in things.
Perfect. Sounds good. So I'll do the 2d8 for the lightsaber.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. 5 and a 4. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I'll take the 5 and the 5.
All right. So you ignite the lightsaber, and we're still just talking. So what do you say? I'm curious what you say.
I say, you may think that you're working for a Jedi, but I can assure you that there are others here that are trying to determine, sorry, let me back up. Right now, we are the only authority to try to answer that question.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice and final. Yeah, he's going to shoot you. Okay. Yeah, he's like, I better shoot this guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I would shoot him too. I totally understand.
Awesome. This is not a high quality. It's a normal blaster, so he's rolling 2d6 for the shooting. And he is going to be, we were just talking. Now he's going to blaster fighting, so he gets to bring in his will. Unfortunately, he's not super willful. Come on, just 1-6, you suckers! Feel like I'm playing freaking Tales from the Loop. I can't buy a 6. Fine. He pulls out the blaster and he shoots you, but he does it. It basically pulls the blaster out and fires at you, but it's not gonna hit you. It's one of those, maybe you deflect it or something. It's not good. It's not a skillful shot. You are you are good at this stuff. He is not terrible at it, but he's fighting a Jedi, and that is always a bad idea. Cool. So we'll go to the next round.
Okay.
You've got a 4, a 3, and a 2. He's got a 5 and a 4. He's going to lead forward with this 5 and a 4. He's firing at you again. He's kind of skitter steps back to get out of the giganto wide arc of your Trandoshan lightsaber, and he fires off of kind of hip fires a few shots, but it looks like he may be trying to run too. So I've got a 9 coming at you. What do you do?
I'm going to use my trait Spring the Trap.
Ooh.
I'm going to escalate using Spring the Trap.
Okay.
It only adds 2d6. Or would I go to the will? Would I just like lean into my will, or would a trait or an attribute be better at this point? Like,
so
what's
a
the
trait is a
narrative
thing you
decision?
can just bring in, but if you
Okay.
want to escalate the conflict, then you can bring a stat in. And so a trait and an attribute, either one of those. Sorry, when you say attribute, you mean the stats, like
Yes.
acuity,
Sorry.
like-
Yes.
That's okay. I just want to make sure we were using the same
Yeah.
terminology,
Yeah.
because all these games have the same 3 or 4
Right.
words they use for the same damn thing. So sometimes I get flip-flopped.
I'm gonna bring. Can I bring both in and escalate and say?
Absolutely, you
okay,
can.
all right,
It's what this
all right.
game's made for.
All right.
Escalating and making bad things happen. It's awesome.
I'll escalate and basically like just do this like kata move where I'm trying to dodge or just like get around him. So I'm like in his back with the lightsaber and I strike him at his legs or something.
Oh, jeez. Poor guy. I mean, not poor guy. He shot at you. He's
Shot at
terrible.
me, like,
All right, roll him in.
I'm not going for his head. So like that's
We'll see how the
that's a-
Fallout dice come,
yeah.
buddy.
Oh, that's a lot of 6s. So
That's a mighty fine roll. Now, see, we still haven't seen the thing where you can like turn the blow, because we're always rolling 6s, but you can definitely meet this and have a lot to come back at him with.
Yep.
So
I do
I
that.
would not use your 6s up. You just need a 9.
Oh, I
You
just
go
need a
s-
9. Oh,
You
in
just
that
need a
case-
9. That's what I put forward.
Oh, okay. So I have. Sorry, I'm just trying to see what I have behind these things. So I have. So I'll use a 6 and a 3.
Good call. All right, so you block him. Jeez, man, stop it.
I know.
All right, cool. So you block his attempt, and you've set this trap. Now you get to push forward. So what are you leading with? This is going to be Fallout time for him, big time.
6 and 6. Let's go 6 and 6.
Oh dear Lord. He might. He's looking at a lot of stuff. Yeah, so you come forward with that lightsaber and this trap, and he sees you've anticipated everything, and he drops his blaster, and he's out. Like, he does not want that fallout. He does not want to eat this at all. You can hold those dice. You get to use them if there's a follow-up conflict. But at this point, he's like, whoa, hey, whatever Jedis do, that's fine. That's fine.
And then I ask him, like, what was your intention here?
Cool. So before you do that, let's do our Fallout.
Sorry.
It's okay. No. It's just good. I've had the things where I played in the game where we like talked for a little bit and then rolled and somebody was dying and it's like, shit, that probably wouldn't have had it that way. So let's do our Fallout.
Sounds good.
The worst we got to was he didn't actually, did he attack with blaster bolts? I think
He did. He shot at me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's roll D10s. You get to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me clear dice and you get to roll 5 D10.
Hopefully I don't die. That could be
Hopefully.
hilarious.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
13. All right. With a 13, you get that's weird. I have a 12 is too long term and 12 to 15 is injured. That's dumb. That should be 13 to 15 is injured. But you got 13, so you are also injured.
Sounds
So
good.
here we go. I'm gonna drop out of our share because now we know what's going on. So now the question you guys might have is, well, what does injured mean? Injured means if you do not seek medical attention and soon, things are going to get worse, and you will end up with some long-term fallout. So you're going to end up with a couple of long-term fallout based on how you get yourself fixed, as it were. This guy, though, he is dying inside.
So, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay. Lethwell basically sees this guy. He kind of dropped his weapons and kind of held up his hands. Lethwell scoops up his stuff, but he knows Linvo is hurt. So he's going to pocket, the weapons and turn to Linvo and immediately start trying to heal him. So.
Nice. Do you have force healing?
I do. I've got good force healing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Let's see you do it.
Okay. So what do I need to roll?
So we have to enter into a conflict.
Okay. So
Because
this would be non-physical?
Yeah, you're non-physical. You're trying to fight his injury, as it were.
Okay.
So I guess we'll jump right back in it, but this is pretty exciting. So I'm okay with this. All right, cool. Let's jump back in. So I'm going to clear dice. The injury is, and I'm kind of riffing here because I know that that you have to defeat the injury. I just need to figure out what is an appropriate. I'm just going to call it with 8d6, and if you can defeat 8d6, then how soon you do it will determine how much fallout he has to deal with.
Okay. Okay.
All right, go for it.
So, I think the non-physical conflict is acuity plus heart.
Yes.
So that's 8d6, and then I'm going to pull in the 2d6 for my connection with Linvo.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to pull in my 2d8 of force healing.
Wow, you are made for this. This is going to be exciting.
That's awesome.
Ooh.
Oh, 2 6s. You're going to blow my butt away.
Yeah, but the rest are pretty low, so we'll see. So I go first because I had the higher dice.
Correct.
And I have to put forward 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put forward a 6 and a 5.
Nice. All right. I will remember that I'm the one who does that and do it. And I can't easily meet that, so I know I'm going to take some fallout. I will 6, and I'll just save those good dice.
Yeah.
And this wound is definitely going to benefit you. So I'm going to call that 1 experience fallout for our healing person. All right. Now I'm going to come back at you. You see that the injuries, you lead off and assess all the damage and lay it bare. And Linvo, which of your traits do you think is the most problematic?
What do you mean?
When we look at your stat sheet, you've got the force is only a D4. I guess, yeah, that's a good point. Like the lowest die type was the ones that are least. So headstrong, and then you feel Linvo's very feeble connection to the force, Lethwo, through this, and realize that weakness is what makes this injury worse, and that is what is leading forward with this 10.
Okay, so I will then lead forward with 2 3s and 2 2s to match.
Okay.
Because I can't match with 2 dice.
Yep, so you might as well take some
Yeah.
fallout. All right. And that will clear out that conflict.
Yeah.
And we'll go to the next round.
And then I will lead forward with a 6 and a 3.
All right. And that's going to clear this wound out. As it is defeated, you have healed his wound and their wound. And now you... What was the stakes of the conflict? You wanted to completely heal their wound, right?
Yeah, or at least get them, out of danger.
Cool. So you get them out of danger, and we'll say that goes from injured to long-term, and we'll call it a short-term injury because you were so successful, you wiped it out. So, Linvo, you get, because of the fallout of this, I'm going to give you 1 experience fallout and then 1 short-term fallout. So you can take a look at those. And now we get to roll your fallout as well. So for Lethwo, this was, it was not just talking. I think it was a physical activity, right? You were using the force. So because it was physical, you're going to be rolling 4d6. And I'll go ahead and clear the dice. And that will be your fallout.
So 8.
8. Yeah, you get some long-term fallout out of that. But it's not an injury, so it's it's something you will remember. So you perform this force healing, Letho. What do we see? What does your force healing look like when you heal Linvo and bring them back?
So basically, I'm concerned for my compatriot, and I kind of lean over, and you see me, put my hands on the body, and immediately, there's one wound that just heals right up, right? But I didn't see the more critical wound right away, and I'm a little bit puzzled, and kind of put my hands back on and close my eyes in concentration, and then you see me slump a little bit, and then I think Linvo starts coughing, right, and starts coming to.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you do, Linvo? You thought maybe this was your time.
Yeah, I think
you saw in that haze. You saw your sibling.
Yeah, I think Linvo was basically almost completely unconscious after that encounter that the camera's focused on Lethwell, and they talked as Arturo was dying, and then he looks back and Linvo's almost on the ground, and Lethwell runs over and channels in the force energy, and Linvo kind of recovers a little bit, enough to be conscious, and looks up at Lethwell and just says, did we get him?
And I think at that point, Lethwell kind of turns around, and he's been focused in on Linvo, and he sees the dead body behind him.
Yep.
And kind of
that was the cost.
Yeah, kind of jerks back and says, he surrendered, but he's dead.
And Linvo kind of just gets quiet at that. This is the outcome that they didn't want after that conversation that we had coming out here, but that's what happened.
So we cut outside to Ka and Jordan. He says, yeah, I've been working for Artano. He let me in on the scheme after he hit my sister's bar. We raid, we cause some trouble. We don't get seen. He gets paid. He slides some our way. I was starving. And he promised he wouldn't hit the bar ever again. So I did it for my sister.
I'm trying to have some sort of I'm trying to feel sadness or empathy for him, and it comes across as anger. and I'm like, well, of course, what were you expected to do in this situation? And clearly he's not who he says he is, and clearly we have to bring him to justice. But what will you do if he's not here?
I don't want to leave my sister, but I can't help her. If I don't have his credits, I gotta find some way to leave. I owe somebody. He taps his cybernetics. So I gotta keep up payments or they're gonna come for it.
Well,
Bounty hunters.
I'm like, I don't have any leeway, but maybe there's work to be had on our ship or back on our temple, or maybe we can find you a place to go find work.
Yeah.
That way.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say that way you can send some credits back home or something.
Thank you. The two of you walk around. You walk in to see Linvo and Lethwo and the dead body of Artano, the false Jedi. Koss come in. Linvo looks like they're in pretty rough shape, but stabilized. Lethwo looks weakened. There's a lot of blood.
I look stunned at the situation, and again, I feel really awful that I wasn't there. And I go to him, and I'm like, I'm sorry that I wasn't there to help you.
I think Lethwo is just kind of bowing over the body, like on his knees, and doesn't say anything, just mourning.
And so after I look at Linvo, I just shoot a glance at Lethwo, and I'm like, this is the putrid branch. This branch was dead long before we came here. We just gave it what it needed.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now we'll move to epilogues. Brief moments for how you guys, as the this little mini series comes to an end, what we see is you guys get to put these characters to bed, at least for now. If not, maybe forever. We'll see if they make an appearance in future games. Who'd like to go first with epilogues for their character?
I'll go. I think that after that, close encounter brush, and with their previous thoughts, I think Linvo is pretty ready to leave the Jedi Temple and not be doing kind of go out and do these missions. And I think that she probably connects with Devro, the smuggler that we picked up. And then
Nice.
The two of them start flying a ship with the kind of idea in the back of Linvo's head to find her family.
Nice. Oh man,
So
the stories of Linvo.
Yeah, there is a smuggler with Jedi training and a lightsaber out there somewhere in Star Wars Saturday world.
Oh yeah, I need to make sure and update that in the wiki. That is awesome. Cool. I'd like to go next with epilogues.
So I think so I'll do Lethwo. Lethwo, I think, feels a debt to this place. And talks to the captain about, can we get Dev off world? But we'll also try and communicate and see if there's some way that we can set up a trade organization. So Linvo, so are you going to make your leaving the order public?
Semi-public. It's not like I'm getting super dramatic about it, and more of the slip away.
Okay, so you're just going to slip away. So I think that Lethwo will talk to Dev and we'll say, someone could make decent money here carrying things back and forth into the central quadrants. And I think that someone might be you, and work to see if they can set up trade between this place and the central quadrant through Dev and maybe Jordan,
Ooh, nice.
to see if that stuff can go on. And I think that Lethwell will stay behind to protect this place in a way that hasn't been done before, just trying to make up for his sins.
So you're saying that Lethwell remains in Mercy on Ragas 3 and tries to use the Silver Dart to set up kind of a trade route of some kind so that they can...
Or possibly repair Dev's ship.
Okay.
And
Neat.
I'm going to do that until Nova, Master Nova, I have a debt to pay here. And until that's paid off, when that's paid off, I will return.
Oh, that's cool. And then once Devereaux gets her ship back up, her and Linvo kind of take off. Nice. What about Ka?
So Ka does something I would say unexpected, where he decides to travel to try to find I will travel to archaeological digs to try to find more passages of other past Jedis and trying to understand how to what were some of the ancient traditions around understanding other people's emotions, kind of like reading through people's epigenetics of emotions and like all of that, and just go into research and go into like high deep meditation for a very long time and just become like a Jedi academic of some sort. Because as much as I'm a Trandoshan and I can hit things really hard, that's not where I'm going to gain a lot of the enlightenment. I will gain it through research and study and reflection.
That is really cool. What an unexpected turn with our Trandoshan. He still fights that fight against his own urges. That's really cool. All right. That will bring this mini-series of Padawans in the Vineyard to an end. We're 4 minutes to the end of our allotted time, so if anybody needs to go, that is A-okay. But I would love to do post-session feedback of stars and wishes. 2 stars and a wish. Stars are positive feedback, moments that you enjoyed or aspects of the system or particular moments of play. And then a wish, if you can do it for couch it around the terms of like, then next time I present this, are there any particular things that we can do to make it easier, or were there any points of clarification that I should care for next time? Who'd like to go first on stars or wishes?
I'll go. So I'll start out with wishes. I kind of, and this is a trope for, role-playing games, I kind of wish we could have gotten Blaze in on that last thing.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Boy, it was super complicated with just 2 of us. If we'd had 3, it would have been really rough on you as the GM. I thought you handled it really, really well.
Thank you.
Did you make all that up, or is that actually how the rules use?
That's how the rules work. And it's funny because there's actually some AP of Vincent running Dogs on the Vineyard, and at one point he says, we're going to do it this way because it's way more complicated to do. And we did the complicated way because it was just 2 players. but like, yeah, when he was doing the demo, he was like, we're going to do this real simple way instead.
Okay. It was actually great. It worked out really well. So, and then stars, well, of course, you set a really high bar when we run Star Wars Saturdays with all of the different NPCs that you have set up and the worlds that you create. I really liked, so I find it really interesting that basically all 3 of the Padawans in this last session left the temple.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I especially like Lin Vo's progression. And it was great to see Ka's experience, I have to admit, my favorite part of these sessions has been the initiation.
They are so good.
Those initiations are so good. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate that. Blaze or Eli, who'd like to go
Yeah,
next?
I could go next.
All right.
Stars, same thing. Oh wait, what am I doing? What's the process here? I'm
2 stars and a wish.
Two stars and a wish.
whichever
Oh my God, yeah.
way you want to go.
So the initiation for me was like mind blowing. That's like the best on ramping I've ever seen in a game before. Like bar none, the best. Second, I will echo Stephen's point about the context. Recently, just as a side note, I'm like taking a reflective thought about how I DM, and I find that what I need to build upon is context. And I find that like the fact that you have NPCs, you understand your world more than anyone else around the table makes it so easy to just come in here on the third of the last one of the series and feel no pressure whatsoever to understand what's going on and how to just role play in it. And that that's a practice thing that is like top notch.
Well, thank you. Wow.
In terms of wishes, I don't have anything in terms of feedback. It works really well. The system, like you handled it really well. I don't know what to do in terms of a wish.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. And then Eli, what you got?
Yeah, it was real complicated, but the fight scene was real cool, and like the escalation felt really good. Of like the talking to doing like cool acrobatics to doing cool lightsaber and force stuff was like a scale up that you can totally see in a TV show or movie, and that was real fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed like seeing everyone's character arcs and how they kind of come out in the end. I guess in terms of wishes as a like systematic thing, this system doesn't really structure player to player interaction at all with any mechanical stuff. So we like chatted, but it never went beyond that. And part of that was also like we had swapping characters between sessions, so there wasn't as much chance to build. But the system doesn't help you out there at all in the way that like PBTA has pieces in there for character to character within the party that are all working together. Like comparing this to the game of Narwhal that we played, there was plenty of like, we're all still a group, we're all still working towards this thing, but we're using the mechanics to interact with each other in a really good way. And that just isn't here. And I felt that.
Yeah, I hear you. So my stars, first of all, Blaze, thanks for jumping in, playing you had such a really interesting take on the character, and I love where you ended up too. Like that is not the path I would have imagined, and it was so thrilling. And Stephen, the Lethwo being peaceful and really just like he stayed in on it, and it still cost him, right? He force healed somebody and somebody still died, and then he pays the price. And Linvo learning, but like they never fully bought into the whole Jedi thing, but never turned against it. And so I always loved that nice edge that you played, Eli. It was really, really fascinating. For me, for a wish, and this is a thing I really yearned for in this game session, is I wish, like, if I had really good game designer skills, what I would do is this conflict that is the only way you do conflict in Dogs in the Vineyard, and hence Jedi in the Vineyard, or Padawan in the Vineyard. If that conflict was like the big boss stage conflict, and there was some way you could take all of the dice and have some simpler conflict of like, simpler conflict you would see in like a PBTA thing of like, you want to hit this number for this and this number for a middling success and this number for a failure. So you could just kind of seed it in and do like little spit. And then, oh shit, there's the Dark Jedi. Now we go to like, we pull out the whole thing. We do the thing. Because what I find is, personally, when I'm running this game, like I will elide a lot of what normally I would call for a roll, and the dice decide. Now I'm like, no, I'm just going to give him the information because I don't want to go into a conflict over this, right? Because it's so much. And if there was some median level of mechanical resolution system that sat in here, I would feel much more comfortable running this frequently. Yeah, and something that teamwork could work really easily in. Like, just GM sets a target number, and you got to get to X target number, and like it would be a whole other system that would use the same dice. And I'm not a good game designer, so I just hack stuff together. But yeah, that's the thought I have.
I have a 0 in game design. But whenever Eli said something about he wished that there was a way that the characters could interact more, the thing that popped into my head was assigning relationships. So I think I just assigned something to Linvo whenever we talked to each other at some point. But if that was the mechanical reinforcement, was that whenever we talked or had an off scene, you could then add a D6, or if you already have a D6, bump that up to a D8 or add it to 2D6. If you run this again, that might be a good thing.
That's interesting. I really like that.
To reinforce that. And the same thing's true about if you want to, you're like, okay, now you have to talk to the bartender, but it's going to piss her off. Take a 1d4 with that bartender.
Oh, interesting.
You can
The
use
other thing,
traits as an encouragement, mechanical encouragement to do stuff.
the other thing I'd use is the intentions that you have already set up in the conflicts. When you're like, what's the intention of you're trying to get out of this conflict, can be reinforced in the same way, where like you're walking into a conversation. If you set the intention of what you're trying to get out of the conversation or the direction that you're steering it towards, that gives you the goal, and then using the mechanical as dice to reinforce that.
Nice. Those are some really good thoughts, guys. I want to put a think on it. I'd really like to get Padawan and the Vineyard back on the calendar. It's funny. This was a game that I wanted to run back when I first conceptualized Star Wars Saturdays. But once I committed to it happening during the original trilogy, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I can't even run it because it doesn't work in the timeline. And I know people would be forgiving, but like I couldn't do it. My canon head wouldn't allow me to do it. But now,
you gotta run like Clone Wars era.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. It would probably fit better, right? Because the dogs in the vineyard have that certain authority that the Jedi do in Clone Wars era. So it would probably work even better. I think I may be doing a mini series set in the Clone Wars or something.
I like it set after Return of the Jedi because it's more like the Wild West.
It is very much like the Wild West.
And in the Clone Wars area, everything's kind of established.
That's true. It's very safe.
These are the cops.
Clone Wars has a Seven Samurai episode too, so
they all do.
True. Yeah.
Everyone gets a Seven Samurai episode.
This was really fun. Thank you guys so much for playing and giving me your Saturday morning so we could run around with laser swords. It doesn't happen nearly as much in a Star Wars Saturday as you would think.
Thank you for letting me do the Ithorian scream bellow thing. That was so good.
Oh, how can I stop that?
I've been waiting to do that. I was like, yes.
Oh, that was perfect. That was so good. And I love that it contributed due to the fallout and me just kind of saying this is why it was a bad thing. Like it was bad. It was that unintended consequences that Lethal suffers from that I just so compelling. Good stuff. Awesome. You guys have a good rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much for playing.
Thank you so much.